Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Oklahoma Sports Scene. Jimmy Zaig at 71st and Garnett here in the city of Tulsa, statewide across Oklahoma, and welcome to our co-host, TJ Eckert from News Channel 8. TJ, good to have you, and good to see you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
As a former Channel 8, I appreciate the good work you're doing. Give us some of your background, TJ.
Yeah, well, so I'm at Channel 8, been here for about 8 months now. Got here in April of last year, and from Bixby, born and raised, so I'm back home. It's very exciting to be here, and growing up watching all the stations here in Tulsa, it's fun to be on a station that I grew up watching.
TJ, of course, was also an outstanding quarterback at Bixby High School, then went on to a college career at UCO. Talk about your college football.
Yes. I went to Central Oklahoma in Edmond and redshirted my first year there, and then started a few seasons after that, and had a great time. UCO is a Division II school, but it feels like a Division I in terms of it's the third biggest school in the state. We have a really big enrollment there.
Right.
And being in Edmond, you're right next to Oklahoma City, so I did my internship at Channel 9 there in Oklahoma City, worked with Dean Blevins, and so made some really good connections there. And so going to UCO really opened up a lot of doors for me.
I found this interesting. As a quarterback, you were a right-hander.
Yes.
I know you're a heck of a golfer, too. You play golf left-handed, is that right?
That's right. So I always tell people, my dad was a professional baseball pitcher, and so he played baseball his whole life. And so he throws left-handed, hits right-handed. I throw right-handed, hit left-handed. So I kind of a mirror image of him. So I don't do anything else left-handed except golf and hit baseballs. That's it. If you asked me to do something left-handed, I probably couldn't do it.
I took note of a score you had, a golf score, 68 on the course here in Jenks.
I've had a couple rounds in the 60s. Yeah, my lowest is out at South Lake, shot 68. I think that's 3 under out there. So I play normally around the mid-70s is where I'm normally at. But if I get going pretty well, I can shoot around par.
Well, TJ, of course, is helping us out today because I got my 2 co-hosts on injured reserve. As they all know, JB Haney had a hip replacement a few weeks ago, and now Gil Cloud, last week, he had a right knee replacement. So we're all kind of biomedical, I guess you'd say. I had my 2 knees replaced this past summer. So
yes, and you showed off your vertical earlier. It's impressive.
Impressive. My vertical leap is not too bad. We've got a great lineup for you today. Let's talk about the show coming up here. And we got a busy show. Bob Carpenter, Major League Baseball, and great expert in the field.
Yes, and a former Channel 8er as well.
That's right, another former Channel 8er. Brian Carroll, he is the general manager of the Tulsa Drillers. Going to get you caught up on all the Drillers activity with their baseball season coming up very quickly here. And high school basketball preview time. We got a bunch of top coaches here.
A lot of good coaches on this lineup here. You got Conley Phipps from Booker T. Washington, got a great year going there as well. Then we got, of course, Bobby Allison from Memorial High School, defending state champions there. Another great season there, led by the Boone brothers, both going to Oklahoma State University. And then Carlan Adkism from Rogers, he's the girls' coach there. They're having a really good season as well.
Teddy Owens from Holland Hall will be here to talk about his outfit, and also his dad, the famous Hall of Fame basketball coach of the Kansas Jayhawks, Ted Owens. Great show coming up. Hot Topics is next on Oklahoma Sports Scene. Glad you're with us.
Welcome to Jimmy's Egg. Come on in.
For more than 30 years, Jimmy's Egg has been starting people's day off right with hot, fresh, made-to-order food. Our eggs are fresh, cracked to order every time, and there are over 40,000 ways to craft your own omelet. With signature favorites like our meat lover's skillet or decadent cinnamon roll pancakes, you won't leave hungry. Breakfast and lunch is available every day from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., so stop in today and let our friendly staff serve you.
Stop by and see us sometime.
What we see isn't always what we get. A smile can hide 100 struggles. Depression, anxiety, addiction, and eating disorders affect more people than you realize. People you know. At Laureate Psychiatric Clinic and Hospital, we offer a wide range of inpatient and outpatient services to help anyone with any degree or form of mental illness. Laureate and St. Francis. Healthcare for life.
At Robertson Tire, we'll match any deal you find on tires, but customer service remains at the core of our business. That's why we've been voted the very best in all 3 major area publications. Thank you for choosing Robertson Tire for all your auto care needs.
TJ Eckert from News Channel 8 in Tulsa is our co-host. We're filling in for Gil Cloud and JB Haney and our Oklahoma Sports Scene at Jimmy's Egg. Some hot topics and a bunch to start with. I know one that Coach Haney and Coach Cloud would love to jump into is, once again, Eddie Sutton has been nominated for the National Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame, and it's absolute criminal that he is not in that Hall of Fame already.
And you said, what is it, 6 times now he's been nominated?
Times,
And I asked you this in the break, and I'd like to hear your opinion again. Why does it take this guy 6 times to get nominated without getting in?
Yeah, there's only four coaches who've had 8 coaches who've had 800 wins. He's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
He was the first to have bring 4 different teams to the NCAA tournament. And of course, his run at Oklahoma State was incredible. 95 to 2004, he had 16 consecutive winning seasons at Oklahoma State, 13 NCAA tournaments, Final Four appearances, and I don't know if it's some of the early issues there on the campus and stuff and things they had going on, or they followed him kind of the brush up at Kentucky where they had investigations there and stuff. He was totally cleared of all that. But for some reason, it just hasn't happened, and it has to happen now because coaches get up in years and stuff. We're all keeping a close eye on them and stuff, but well-deserved, certainly, TJ.
Well, and going and covering OSU games this season with Channel 8, sitting on the sidelines, and Coach Sutton still tries to come as many games as he can. Every game he's there, fans, opposing players, coaches, all come up, say something to him, wish him well. He still communicates with them as best as he can. He's one of the most well-respected figures in college basketball. I know that Coach Chris Beard from Texas Tech brought him into the locker room after Texas Tech beat OSU in Stillwater last week. So he's so well-respected in the basketball universe, and it really is, like you said, criminal that he's not in yet.
Final Four with Arkansas in 1978, with Oklahoma State, Final Four in 95 and 2004. But his legacy certainly is his players and the kind of people he produces. So let's make sure he gets in this Basketball Hall of Fame this year.
That's what I'm
hoping. It's up to a very small committee group, a lot of politics involved. We've been pushing it for many years, so this has got to be the year. Let's hope so.
I'm hoping so.
NBA All-Star Game. I don't know if you call it a game or just a 3-point exposition. It was just crazy last night.
I think the Pro Bowl and the NBA All-Star Game may be the two most worthless games that they play. The All-Star Game was maybe fun in terms of lots of up and down. There's no defense played, no defense at all played. Team Giannis, who had Paul George and Russell Westbrook, they got up by 20-something points, and then almost like a regular NBA game. The team that goes up early is normally the team that ends up losing.
Team LeBron came back and won that game. If anybody cares, 178 to 164. What I thought was great though, they set an all-time All-Star game record. Hit 62 threes. They only attempted 167, TJ.
That's not bad.
Just crazy time there. And now, of course, they're getting ready for the end of the All-Star break. For the Thunder, 25 games left now in the regular season. They've positioned themselves well, TJ.
They've done a really, really good job. And something, Chris, that people were concerned about midway through this first half of the season was if this team may even make the playoffs. Not necessarily because of their record, but the way they were playing basketball. It wasn't really a winning brand of basketball, but Coach Billy Donovan's done a great job. I think Russell Westbrook's really buying into the whole Paul George is the best player on the court right now for us. And so he's kind of taking a back seat a little bit and letting Paul George do his thing. And Paul George is playing at an MVP level.
Thunder coming back with a game February 22nd against Utah at 8 o'clock in Oklahoma City. They also have a February 23rd game at home with Sacramento. Go on the road February 26th to Denver. Back home after that, they'll host the 76ers on the 28th to round things up. But right now, they go to the All-Star break with a 37-20 record and have won 8 of the last 10.
They're playing really well at a really good time of the year. If they can continue this trend, if Paul George continues playing at his level, Russell Westbrook continues taking a back seat a little bit and just controlling that offense, I think they're right now they're third in the West. I think they can hold that spot and maybe eventually catch up to number 2.
You don't want to be 4. You don't want
to play Golden State. Yes, sure, stay on the opposite side.
Another winter team is doing well in this area. Tulsa Oilers, our hockey team.
Yes. I used to go to Tulsa Oilers games when I was younger, so growing up and watching their games and now being able to go and cover them as well, lots of fun. I actually went and covered the teddy bear toss game they had a couple months ago. That's a lot of fun. But yes, you're right. The Oilers playing really well. I saw that you had the head coach on as a guest a few weeks ago, and so they're doing really well.
30-18-6 right now. They are third in the ECHL Mountain Division. It looks like they're going to make those playoffs. Fighting hard to make the playoffs here. This team is really well positioned for that. They have, by the way, finishing February with 3 games at Idaho, then have a home game with Rapid City coming up on February 26th. Get down to the BOK and support the Oilers as well. I know it's early, but it's never too early, of course, to talk football in Oklahoma. 2019, way too early. They even say that. College football rankings are out, and Oklahoma ranked number 3 nationally behind only Clemson and, of course, Alabama.
There's an excitement building around this team now with new defensive coordinator Alex Grinch in from Ohio State. I think people are getting excited about that. Really good recruiting class coming in for OU as well. Honestly, if they get an average defense, they'll be there again. That's all it takes.
That's what it takes. By the way, here is the rundown of the top 10. Clemson 1, Alabama 2. Clemson reigning champions, undefeated 15-0 last year. Oklahoma number 3. Georgia 4. Ohio State 5. Notre Dame 6. Texas 10-4 last season in the top 10, 7th preseason. Florida 8, Michigan 10. kind of rounds out that top 10 there. But again, people wondering, is Texas ready to make a move? It's good. They're getting better, which is good for the Big 12.
It's really good for the Big 12. It almost seems like every year we're saying Texas is back, and then they fall down. Texas is back, then they fall down. I think Tom Herman's done a great job there at Texas. At that game, I went to the Cotton Bowl, and great game. But I really think that Tom Herman's done a good job. He's kind of got that program going in the right direction.
One of the hot topic to finish us off here, and it was less of a car race than is a demolition derby. The Daytona 500, the 61st running this past Sunday, and TJ, what a mess that was at the end.
I think I said it out on social media. How fun would it be if instead of having cautions, they just made the drivers continue driving, avoid all the carnage, all those wrecks, just drive through it, and Denny Hamlin ended up coming out and winning. What was the second time in 4 years, I think.
Second one. They had, though, it was a wreck late in the race that wiped out 21 cars.
Unbelievable. There was have you seen Talladega Nights, the movie with Will Ferrell? They were kind of saying that the race may come down to two guys running down the end of the track because all the cars were going to be out of commission. So, but yes, Denny Hamlin ended up surviving all that carnage and ended up winning.
Well, the weather's been cold, but it's starting to warm up here. Let's hope so, and we can talk about that because we're going to be talking about baseball. Bob Carpenter, voice of Major League Baseball's Washington Nationals, is going to join us. A longtime friend of ours. He was a channelator.
That's right.
I got TJ as well. So Bob Carpenter's on deck on Oklahoma Sports Scene at Jimmy's Egg. Stay with us.
At Bricktown Brewery, we're known for our famous original craft beers like Single String Stout and Bluesberry Ale. Did you know we also brew our own root beer at our Oklahoma City brewhouse? It's called Attaboy Root Beer, and you'll love it no matter what your age. Just ask for a Bricktown Kids menu with all the favorites for our guests 12 and under. Bricktown Brewery opens every day at 11 a.m.
March Madness. There's nothing like it. The road to the Final Four goes through Tulsa. The 2019 NCAA Men's Basketball first and second rounds, March 22nd and 24th at BOK Center in Tulsa.
Beautifully done. Deep splash. Feeling it today.
Visit ncaa.com/MBB tickets and get your seats today.
Welcome back to Oklahoma Sports Scene here at Jimmy's Egg in Tulsa. Well, if one Channel 8 Sports guy is not enough, or two's not enough, we got three here. Welcome Bob Carpenter, the former Channel 8 Sports guy, and of course, we've been knowing him well as the voice of the Washington Nationals, starting his 36th season on Major League Baseball. Bob, great to see you again. Great to have you with us.
Good to see you, Chris. TJ, nice to meet you.
Yes, nice meeting you. Yes,
and
sir.
if you stick around for one more month as Channel 8 Sports Director, you will have had that job longer than I did back in 1982.
He took my place. Did a good job, too, right?
Not easy following a legend.
Yeah, right.
That's what they say.
We did a lot of work together. He schooled me through soccer. We voiced the Roughnecks and had a great time with Roughnecks soccer here back in the old days. Bob, it was a good time.
You know, those were great times, and it was funny because you and I had so many experiences with our wonderful GM, the late Noel Lemon, who taught me a lot of things about how to run a ball club and a lot of things about how not to run a ball club. But, you know, it was portrayed as Oklahoma's only major league sport, you know, not exactly on the same level with OU and OSU football and all that stuff. But it was a major league sport. It took a little while. I remember that first game on April 1st of 1978 when we had about 3,000 people in the stands for the Roughnecks opener.
That's right, yeah.
Billy Caskey, our buddy from Northern Ireland, scored
Victor
the only
Moreland,
goal. We lost 2-1.
Yeah.
Charlie Mitchell, Alex Katerik, all those great guys, many of whom are still in the Tulsa area. Raj Danifard passed away recently, which was a very sad piece of news for all of us.
Good fellow.
Just a great guy to watch play, but you know, it took a while in 78. In 79, the Roughnecks beat the Cosmos in the playoffs, a night that I will never forget. And, you know, and it lasted about 6 or 7 years, and then the NASL kind of went away. And, you know, nice to know that Major League Soccer is back and doing well, and, you know, maybe Tulsa gets back in that league sometime.
You know what I love about, you have a really nice resume, but you remember those games, those Roughneck games. What is it about those that stands out to you so much?
Well, just the atmosphere, I think, at Skelly Stadium, which is now, of course, Chapman Field, and, you know, the West Side the grandstand went up way higher than it does now. They knocked off part of the stadium, but you know, I think the date was August 23rd of 1979, It was a regular season game. The Roughnecks beat the Cosmos, and it was actually a playoff game, 3-0. I still remember vividly all three of those goals.
Gosh.
Roger Davies scoring one, Alan Woodward assisting on another amazing shot by Roger Davies. Wayne Hughes scored a goal. It was just one of those nights that you just don't forget. And we had 31,000 people in the stadium. Maybe there weren't exactly that many, but when Noel said there were 31,000 people there were 31,000 people.
Here's an important question about memory. Was I there?
I don't know. It was a home game, so it wasn't on TV.
Okay, maybe not.
Because I know Bob Stevens and I were doing that on KRMG radio, and we had a great setup, if you remember, Chris, because the home games were on KRMG, which is the biggest station in town.
Sure.
And they had their sports line show every night at 6 o'clock. Nobody else was doing sports on radio. And then the away games were not on radio, but we had them on Channel 8. You did play-by-play. I was actually your analyst. And, traveling with Doug Wren and Kent Dowell.
Right, yeah.
Doug's over here as usual, has his eye on us to make sure we don't mess up.
I know, that's right.
But, those were fun days. It was all new. It was exciting. And to a certain extent, took the town by storm for a couple of years.
Well, we brought you on to talk about baseball. Getting ready to start here, but heading to spring training, right? Talk about your setup with the Nationals.
Well, this will be my 14th year with the Nationals. We're still trying to win a first-round playoff series.
Oh, gosh.
As of the time we tape this, Bryce Harper still is unsigned. You hear a different rumor every day.
Yeah.
We're hearing that the longer this goes, the better the chances he's coming back to the Nationals. I don't know. Our owners supposedly offered him a 10-year, $300 million deal at the end of the regular season, which he and Scott Boras, his agent, turned down. We hear now that maybe the Phillies are willing to go $25 or $50 million more than that. Well, Chris, you know what this is like. Once you're making $300 million, what's another 20?
Exactly.
What's another 25 or 50? So I tell you, wherever he ends up, I wish Bryce well. He was good to me. He always contributed some memorabilia for our charity golf tournament and spends a lot of time doing charity things that a lot of people don't hear about. But I always thought he was going to go to the Dodgers. But if he goes to the Phillies and comes to our ballpark 9 or 10 times during the regular season for about 40 at-bats, I hope we walk him every time. I don't want him swinging the bat against our team. But with or without Bryce Harper, we've got a really good baseball team. Max Scherzer, Steven Strasburg, Patrick Corbin at the top of our rotation. A young star at third base in Anthony Rendon. We still have Ryan Zimmerman. Victor Robles is going to be our center fielder, it appears, and he's our number one prospect. Juan Soto was number 2 to Ronald Acuna Jr. for Rookie of the Year last year. He's our left fielder. We have Adam Eaton, who's a little pepper pot kind of guy in right field. We have a really, really good ball club, exciting young shortstop named Trey Turner. And I think the Nationals will be the favorite in the National League East, no matter what the Braves and the Phillies do. But if Bryce goes to Philadelphia, there's going to be a heck of a buzz in the National League East this year.
Now, my thing, Bob, maybe you can answer this because maybe I don't know. Manny Machado and Bryce Harper both still unsigned.
They are.
Is there a reason that these guys that are demanding this much money aren't signed? Is it a team not willing to put forth the money? Is it that guys are trying to see how much they can get out of teams? What's the reason?
I think it's a combination of all of those things. You hit on it with those 4 words, demanding so much money. I mean, Bryce's people, in my opinion, have been floating this $400 million deal out there for the last year or two, ever since we were within that 2-year envelope when we knew Bryce would become a free agent. So those numbers have been kicked around. Machado not as high, and I think Manny lost some of his value by some of his antics during the playoffs last year when he didn't run out a couple of ground balls, when it appeared he tried to spike a first baseman on a ground ball out.
Right.
He's, to be honest, he's a hothead, and he loses it now and then. And I think that has scared off some GMs. It scared off some owners. He's going to get a big payday, but Bryce will probably get more than he does. And we're hearing even the Padres are in this thing. They want to make a big splash. They signed Eric Hosmer last year, the free agent who left the Royals, so they're looking to make a splash. So I don't know where any of these guys are going to end up, but there is a different set of, not one rumor, there's a different set of rumors out there almost by the hour.
BC, give us a kind of brief recap overview of Major League Baseball 2019. Who are the teams to beat? Our area teams, of course, Cardinal fans, Royal fans, Ranger fans.
I think the Cardinals will be better. They've done some good things. They've shored up their bullpen. And I think Paul Goldschmidt, he's a guy who could be a Cardinal for life after this year.
Right.
I think the St. Louis fans will really take to him. You know, he's been playing in Arizona. I don't like to say in obscurity, but a lot of people on the East Coast and really in the Central Time Zone, they don't get a sense all the time of what's going on out west. Paul Goldschmidt is as good a first baseman as there is in baseball. Everybody's talking about his bat in the lineup. Paul Goldschmidt's glove at first base will save the Cardinals about 20 errors this year. They were the worst defensive team in baseball throughout the 2018 season.
Yeah.
He's going to bail out a lot of their infielders who've been launching peas around that infield, and he's going to shore up their defense. If Dexter Fowler comes back from what's been a nightmare year or two for him, you know, the Cardinals are on or something. I love this young outfielder, Harrison Bader, that they have. He's got some pop. They got a kid named Tyler O'Neill who can hit the ball a mile. You have the incomparable Yadier Molina behind the plate. If Adam Wainwright makes a nice comeback on the mound, and if Adam can stay healthy, I think the Cardinals have a chance to be right there. I think Milwaukee's probably the best team in the division right now. The Cubs and the Cardinals are probably right behind them, and then, you know, and then come the Pirates. And so, you know, we'll see how it all shakes out. The Reds have Matt Kemp and Yasiel Puig now, guys who can slug, and that's a hitter's ballpark. So I think the NL Central might be one of the most balanced and fun divisions to watch. But really, I think everybody in the National League right now is chasing the Dodgers. Everybody in the American League's chasing the Red Sox. And we'll see who else can pop up from the other divisions. I like the Astros a lot again. To me, they're right there with the Red Sox as the best team in the American League. But I would say right now, if I had to pick the top 3 teams in the National League, I'd probably take the Dodgers, probably take the Nationals, maybe with Milwaukee tied for second among the 3 best teams in that league.
American League, top 3?
Red Sox, Astros, and you know, and hey, the Yankees have John Carlos Stanton. They have Aaron Judge. They re-signed CC Sabathia, their left-hander. Their pitching's better. They have a killer bullpen, probably the best in baseball. And I don't see anybody from the Central really jumping up. Somebody's got to win that division, and it'll probably be the Indians. But you know, I think those are easily the top teams in the league.
BC's the Joe Professional. The professionals get paid. Jimmy's a gift card for BC here, buddy.
Well, you
before
know,
you leave for spring training.
Yeah, well, you know what the media's like. Free food, we're there.
Absolutely.
Bob, great to see you again, my friend.
Chris, great to see you.
Bob,
hey, TJ, all the best
sir.
to Channel 8.
Thank you very much. I appreciate
and we'll
that.
be watching and pulling for you to be there for a long time.
Bob, I appreciate that.
All right,
Thank you.
Another Channel 8 legend. We got more baseball talk coming up. Brian Carroll, the Tulsa Drillers, straight ahead on Oklahoma Sportscene. Oklahoma Sportscene wants to welcome our newest title sponsor, SNB Burger Joints, the home of fresh-made gourmet burgers and sliders, great sides, hand-dipped milkshakes, root beer and soda floats, and delicious homemade pies. All served with a fun and friendly staff, and we feature a full-service bar with over 65 beers and our unique Bloody Marys. SNB Burger Joint in the Oklahoma City area and coming soon to Tulsa.
1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock. 5, 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, rock. 9, 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, rock. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight.
Remington Park is now officially open around the clock. That's right, we are 24/7.
We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. We're gonna rock till broad daylight. Gonna rock around the clock tonight.
So when we say the party never ends, you better believe it. Remington Park, now open 24/7.
Chase is forcing the turnover in front of Chance, back in and they score!
And welcome back to the Oklahoma Sports Scene, joined now by the VP of Media Relations, Brian Carroll, for the Tulsa Drillers. Brian, thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure. Glad to be here.
I know it's starting to get to be a little busy time of year for you guys.
It is. We are getting close. We're knocking on the door of it, and we're real excited about the upcoming season. For the first time in 20 years, we're entering a season as league champions. So a lot of good things going on. Scott Hennessy, our manager, was just in town, kind of doing a little preview with our season ticket holders. And on the field, as far as the makeup of our team, I think there's a lot to be excited about. We should start the year with a strong ball club.
Starting April 4th to the 9th, home series to get us started as the defending champions. Pretty good, huh?
Yeah, it is. It is, and it's always exciting when you start the year at home.
Yeah.
We haven't had a lot of opportunities to do that lately, and when we start as champions, that makes it even better. Hopefully, the weather will cooperate. We've got a lot of activities to kind of look back and pay honor to that club. And then, at some point we got to turn the page and start working towards 2019.
How much of the team from last year is coming back for this season? How many of them have moved on to maybe another level, or can you kind of give us an idea of that?
Well, a lot of that's still up in the air.
Okay.
But as we sit here today, we think we're going to see quite a few familiar faces off of that championship ball club. Fortunately, with the Dodgers, they have a lot of depth throughout their system. So guys had good years last year, but there may not be places for them to move up, which means they come back to Tulsa. And, K-Barrett Ruiz, our catcher, who is still very, very young and rated one of the top prospects in minor league baseball, he may start the year with us again, even after being with us all of the last season, just because of the backlog that they have. So I think that may work to our advantage, at least during the first half of the season. We may not keep them all year long, but the first half we should put out a very, very strong ball club.
Brian Carroll, our Vice President of Media Relations here with the Tulsa Drillers, and just kind of recapping last season, looking back, Scott Hennessy returning for his third season now. Last season finished 74-65, second half title, then a 3-game sweep of San Antonio, and we really owed them because that was a heartbreaker in 2018, wasn't it? Remember that?
Oh my gosh, I was just talking to Coach Owens about that. The year before, we had Midland down 2-0. We won 2 games in Midland, and we came home, had a huge crowd for Game 3, had a major leaguer on the mound, and our bats kind of disappeared, and we lost that game, and you just had a bad feeling that we just missed a great opportunity to end it in perfect fashion, and as luck would have it, we lost the next 2 and lost the series to Midland. But we had several of those guys who joined us late that year return for 2018, and I think that worked to our advantage in 2018. They got close and didn't get across the finish line, so I think that really spurred them last year and gave them the drive to make sure they finished it off, in which they did in perfect fashion, sweeping San Antonio in 3 games. We didn't have to have that pressure build on us as we took the first game in San Antonio and sweep them. And you mentioned Scott Hennessy. He deserves so much of the credit for the success we've had over the last 2 years. He does such a great job in the clubhouse. He gets everybody bought in. They know what their roles are. They know they have a job to perform each day, and there's a reason that they're there and to win as well as develop their games. And Scott just does a fantastic job of keeping everybody engaged and keeping everybody involved.
It's the ultimate goal for any minor leaguers to get to the big leagues, get to the big. It's a personal goal, obviously. But what I really enjoyed about this team last year was how invested they were in winning that Texas League. It felt like it was a goal of theirs, and it wasn't something that they were just poo-pooing. It was something they really wanted to do.
Well, I think it serves a benefit, and I think the Dodgers realize the positives of that. It's an experience it's the AA level. It's nothing like the major league level, but to go through a pennant race, to play for a championship, to go out and take your position with something on the line, and I think that's a very big part of the development process. The Dodgers, they expect to be in the postseason every year, are playing meaningful games in September, and I think by doing that in Tulsa or at AAA at Oklahoma City, it helps prepare those guys for that situation. Is it like going on the mound or going on the field in Dodger Stadium? No, but it is not a unique experience. They've gone through something similar, and I think it just makes them more comfortable when they're put in that situation when they get to the big league level.
Tulsa, TJ, has a great baseball history.
No doubt.
With the exception of World War II, we've had baseball continuously in the city of Tulsa since 1932. Tulsa Drillers came here in 1977, became the Tulsa Oilers then, and switched to the Drillers. And kind of hard to see now, tearing down the old ballpark on the corner there, that Yale and 15th there, right, and tearing the old ballpark down, the old stadium.
Yeah, and that's obviously that's a little tough to see. My career in baseball started there, and spent a lot of years there at the corner of 15th and Yale, and our wonderful owner during those years, Went Hubbard, put a lot of resources, a lot of thought into that facility, and and turned it into about as nice a facility as you could with what they started with. And Bill Rawlings, of course, before Mr. Hubbard helped put the funds together and build that stadium and really save baseball for Tulsa.
Yeah.
And without those efforts, without that stadium, who knows? We probably wouldn't be here talking to you today, Chris, because who knows where the game would have went. So it is sad to look and see that coming down, but we are very, very lucky to call One Oak Field home. And it's not that we want to switch back, because we've got a fabulous home now. But there are a lot of great memories and a lot of great times for 15 Young.
Is it the 9th year possibly? Is that right? Coming into One Oak Field?
It'll actually be the 10th season. Yeah, we opened it in 2010.
Wow, how about that, huh?
Crazy.
Where does it go?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Amazing.
What you mentioned the meetings with season ticket holders. You've had some. Coach Hennessy's had some as well. Is there a new, not a new excitement, but even more excitement around this team now coming off that Texas League championship? Do you see?
I think so, and especially with our our hardcore fan base. We had a bunch of those in last week, and yeah, it's always more fun when you win. Now, minor league baseball, a huge part of it is development, but like I say, there's a combination of the two that works there. And I know as someone going to the ballpark every day, it is generally a whole lot more fun when we're on top of the standings, or at least competitive. And I think it does re-energize your fan base as well. And if you're winning, that probably means you've got good players on the field as well. And it's exciting for all of us to watch these young kids go out there and perform at a high level, and then see them develop and move to the major league level and have success there. And a lot of our season ticket holders, they get to know these guys on a personal level. So you take even more involvement in it, and to be there and see them go up the ladder and have that type of success.
Ryan, talk about the involvement with the Los Angeles Dodgers. They're also, of course, we go in the Oklahoma City market too, very prominent there with their AAA team.
Well, as I said earlier, we're very fortunate to be a Dodgers affiliate. It is one of the iconic sports franchises in this country. And really, you can go anywhere in the world, maybe not baseball fans, but they've heard of the Los Angeles Dodgers. You talked about our history. The Dodgers have, such a deep history and a winning history going back to their days in Brooklyn. And to be able to be a small part of that is beneficial to us. And certainly the Dodgers franchise, they have some benefits that maybe not all major league teams have, being in a big market in Los Angeles, and some resources, great ownership, great folks in their front office as well. And I think it'd always be a good time to be a Dodgers affiliate, but right now in particular, it is a very good time. And unfortunately for the Dodgers, they've knocked on the door twice, getting to the World Series 2 years in a row, but unable to finish it off. But the thing about it is, they've got the pieces in place to make a run and hopefully get back there and get across that final hurdle.
I know it's a busy time of year for you, but I'm sure you certainly enjoy it as well.
Oh, it's so much fun, and this time of year the excitement starts to build. Hopefully the weather is going to start warming up soon, and that helps, and gets the blood flowing, and get you realizing it's right here, it's on the doorstep. And having our manager Scott Hennessy in this past week makes you realize it's here.
Right, we can't let you leave without a little breakfast here at Jimmy's Egg, of course. This is Nancy Smoot, and we got our manager here at the Jimmy's Egg, 71st in Tulsa. So enjoy breakfast. What do we have here for him, Nancy?
We have a pancake combo, pancakes, bacon, and eggs.
And I've been dying looking at this. This is our
burrito. That's our queso burrito.
The queso burrito.
We can't eat right now, but you can. And before you do that, come back again at Jimmy's Egg for breakfast and lunch, 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. here. You're welcome. Thanks for joining us on the Oklahoma Sports Scene.
Well, thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Can't eat yet, TJ. Later.
Hold on.
Right back with Oklahoma Sports Scene. We continue from Jimmy's Egg right after this. Dive in there, Coach.
All right.
If you haven't had an opportunity to read one of the Greater Tulsa reporters, I'd like to encourage you to pick up, let's say, the Jinx District Gazette. As an example, that's one of 6 that is put out by Forrest Cameron and his wife Sharon. But if you want to read something about sports, about government, about education, about economics, it's all right here in the GTR. So there are 6 of them in metropolitan Tulsa. I encourage you to pick up one today.
Ditchwitz, 5 words or less.
Making the impossible possible.
Technology you can't live without.
Most versatile equipment ever made.
Customer service and support.
Reliable, productive, ground-chewing machines.
We're in this together.
1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock. 5, 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, rock. 9, 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, rock. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight.
Remington Park is now officially open around the clock. That's right, we are 24/7.
We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. We're gonna rock, rock, rock till broad daylight. Gonna rock around the clock tonight.
So when we say the party never ends, you better believe it. Remington Park, now open 24/7.
It's state basketball tournament time in Oklahoma. Coming up pretty soon here. We've got 3 of the best in the state. With us here on Oklahoma Sportscene and Jimmy's Egg Restaurant here in Tulsa. My news to you, Conley Phipps, head basketball coach of Booker T. Washington, one of the outstanding teams in the state. Alongside me is Bobby Allison with #1 ranked Memorial Chargers. And next to him, with one of the finest girls teams in the state, is Carlan Adkism. Guys, welcome. I wish J.B. Haney and Gil Clark could be here. This is their time to get our guys here from TPS, making the guys proud. Let's start with you with that #2 ranked 6A Booker T. Hornets.
Well, we had a good regular season.
20-2.
As everybody knows, it starts 0-0.
Yeah.
So starting all over, but we're looking forward to the playoffs and trying to get back that state championship game. And I know I'm not going to see Coach Allison in the state championship game this year, so that may help if we can get there.
5A #1 ranked team with our coach here, and again, Bobby, congratulations! A great
Thanks,
season. 19-3, 10-0 in the district. Give us some of your highlights this season, some of your top guys.
We've had a great season. We've pushed ourselves with great out-of-state competition. Played Booker T in the Tournament of Champions. Didn't go our way, but we learned a lot from that game. And since then, we're on a pretty good winning streak here. 19-3, won our conference, 10-0. And with a great senior class and really good underclassmen, we're in the right spot right now to hopefully make a good run here. But like Coach Phipps said, it's everybody 0-0, and you got to get that first game out of the way, and then after that, you just got to go make plays.
We want to be sure we had the girls teams represented in the state of Oklahoma as well, and got some great girls basketball here. But one of the best is Will Rogers High School, and Carlan has done a great job there. Carlan, let's talk about your girls. 20-3 on the season, 11-0 in the district.
We'll have a senior leading the team, LaCar Jordan. She's averaging about 14, 15 points a game, and then she's followed by Nakia Cullum, which is playing some pretty good basketball right now. And we're just playing pretty well, and just hopefully we can take a run at it in state.
Coach Allison, how about some of your individuals that kind of led the Chargers?
Well, we got Caleb and Keelan Boone.
Yeah.
Obviously, everybody knows about them. They've had wonderful careers.
Both going to Oklahoma State.
Both going to OSU. Yep. They've had wonderful careers at Tulsa Memorial. They were key players off the bench for the 17 championship, and then they really emerged last year as 2 of the best players in the state and in that region last year, helping us. And they've had a great senior year, along with James Alexander, another senior guard who's done a lot for us, and Kayvon Key and Will Hill and Brayshawn Finch have been 3 juniors that have really stepped up and filled the roles from last year's seniors.
And as far as Booker T. Washington goes, you don't have to go very far to find some star players in their own house, in fact. Your son Trey's doing a heck of a job as a junior.
Trey's had a good year this year, and obviously a couple other names, Booker T, Bryce Thompson.
Yeah.
Big-time national recruits, just a junior. Seth Hurd, big man in the middle, doing a great year, having a great year for us. Jalen Breath, 6'8", another player that's done well. And then, we've got some guys that are great at playing the role. Mike McHenry made shots for us all year. Kriston Driver comes in and does all the little things for us. So we've got a good mix.
I remember, of course, for years and years out there at Oral Roberts University. So there was Scott Sutton, right?
Yes, yeah. I was with Scott for 15 years. Had some really good teams, and fortunate enough to coach some great players, including Memorial great Caleb Green,
right.
So we had a good run out there.
How was it to take over an iconic program, though, like Booker T. Washington, Conley?
Well, number one, it's an honor and a privilege to be at Booker T. And I'm from the area, and so, when I was a youngster, I remember when Coach Mims coached there. watched those teams, great teams he had in the early 70s, and played with Arthur Thomas in the All-Star games. Of course, was lucky enough to know William and Wayman when I played at OU with them. And so I understand, what all that means at Booker T and the great players and the tradition and all the pride right there.
And Bobby Allison, you're a alumni of your own school too, Memorial, right? Came back to the school. Give us kind of your background after Memorial and what got you back here.
Yeah, I was a 2002 graduate. Lucky enough to have great teammates when I was there. Played under Coach Sprague his last year, and under Eric Savage his first year. So I got my junior year was with Robert Sprague, senior year was with Eric Savage. Played with Caleb Green, some other great All-Staters, Kelvin Sango, Jason Parker, some great Memorial Chargers. And I go to school, come back in 2008, was an assistant at Memorial. And I was an assistant at Muskogee under Terry Scott for 3 years. Went to Morris for 2 years and was my first head job there at the 3A program. Then when Eric Savage left to Sand Springs, Coach Sprague called me up and I jumped on it. Like Coach Phipps said about the pride with Booker T, we have a lot of pride at Memorial as well, that lucky enough to be an alumni there and have connections through past players and everything. It's a dream job, and we've been fortunate enough to have a lot of success.
Carlan, let's talk about girls basketball in Oklahoma. Give us an idea about how good is the program. Of course, we go statewide, but Oklahoma City, Tulsa. Talk about the girls programs.
It's just tough all over the state of Oklahoma. The Ardmore's at the top of the ranks in 5A, and then you got them followed by Piedmont down there on the Oklahoma City side. And we was fortunate enough to be in third place on this side, but you also have Coweta is pretty good. East Central Cardinals is always there each and every year, and Tahlequah. It's just a tough 5A this year.
Boys 5A. Give us an overview of the state.
Out west, Dale City has done really well this year. They've got a lot of good players back. They were in the state tournament last year. I think they're 20-3 right now. They've done a great job. East side wise, Northwest Classing came over from the west, and they're the 2 seed. Them and Edison are the 2 and the 3 really good teams, and then the 4 seed is Carl Albert. It's a perennial state contender, and then the 4 seed out east. So those are 4 really good teams out in the east, and then you got teams like Tulsa Rogers. Their boys program's doing a lot of good things. Some other teams off the top, El Reno and Lawton Ike are always state contenders. So 5A's, we got our hands full. People are going to try to mark us as the favorite and whatnot because of our experience and our talent.
And defending champions.
But like I told the kids, not many teams get to win it 3 in a row. So to me, that makes us the underdog. Because to get 3 in a row, it's one thing to get 1, but to get 3, you're automatically stacking the deck, and the percentages, to me, are against you. So we need to look at that as motivation and come with an underdog mindset, because I think that's when we play our best, is when we're the hunters and not the hunted.
Conley, how about you? 6A overview of the state here. Of course, you guys have the target, number 2 in the state.
Yeah, on our side of the state, you've got Union. Jinx had a really good year. Sand Springs, Sapulpa, fantastic team. On the other side, you're talking about the 2 best teams, probably Edmond Memorial and Edmond Santa Fe. And then there's probably 3 or 4 more that I didn't mention that could win a 6A state championship. So it's going to be difficult.
Regions got underway the 21st, 23rd around the state here. We have area February the 28th to March the 2nd, and state we all want to get to March 7th and 9th. And one of the great things, Kelly, is Oral Roberts University is the site for us for the 6A and 5A.
Yeah, it's neat to have it. What a great arena that stood the test of time, and our guys love playing there. We're fortunate to be in the state tournament last year, tournament champions the last 2 seasons. So our guys really like that venue. It's a great place to play basketball.
Can't thank you guys enough for joining us. I know it's a busy time of year. Have something from Jimmy's Egg. Here's your gift card from Jimmy's Egg, guys.
Thank you.
Come back here for breakfast starting at 6 a.m. all the way to lunch at 2 p.m.
Thanks.
Wish you well. Do us proud here in the state, right, guys?
Thanks for having me, Chris.
Appreciate it. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, Chris. Good to see you.
Have your boy stay near home, right?
Okay.
He's committed to Tulsa, right?
Yes.
Excellent. Good.
Yes.
And how about?
We're excited about that.
How about the superstar? What do you think?
Well, he's got a lot of options. All good.
He does. Bryce Thompson, of course, talking about his dad. Ron's quite a guy too.
He's a great guy.
Done a great thing in basketball.
Yeah.
So, well, guys, can't thank you enough. Booker T, Tulsa Moyle, Will Rogers, doing our guys proud here across the state of Oklahoma. You guys got to support state basketball. Exciting time of year. Back to more Oklahoma Sports Scene here at Jimmy's Egg. Oklahoma Sports Scene wants to welcome our newest title sponsor, SNB Burger Joints, the home of fresh-made gourmet burgers and sliders, great sides, hand-dipped milkshakes, root beer and soda floats, and delicious homemade pies. All served with a fun and friendly staff, and we feature a full-service bar with over 65 beers and our unique Bloody Marys. SNB Burger Joint in the Oklahoma City area and coming soon to Tulsa.
Robertson Tire has been locally owned and serving Tulsa for the past 50 years, but we're much more than a tire shop. We handle alignments, oil changes, brakes, and much more. For all our services, coupons, and location information, visit us online at robertsontire.com.
Having a great time here at Jimmy's Egg. We had breakfast. Now look at the TJ moved to lunch here.
Yeah, look at the buttery roll there.
Man, that looks good. Curly fries and stuff there. Well, we have with us, of course, the one of the great basketball families in this country, the Owens family. Of course, we all know Coach Ted Owens, of course, the Hall of Fame basketball coach. Kansas Jayhawks. So hard for Missouri Tigers to say that, TJ.
Sorry about that.
And his son Teddy, we're so proud of. Got him back here in Tulsa, the head basketball coach at Holland Hall. Teddy, good to have you home. Talk about your travels. You've been busy as a young coach.
Yeah, I've been fortunate, to have my dad, to open up a lot of doors for me, and a lot of coaches don't have that opportunity that I've had, and I've had to prove myself along the way, but he's been there and helped me get indoors that otherwise I might not have had. And I've really worked with some great coaches in high school and in college, and got back into high school, and it's funny how it all works, and finally coming back home and being around my dad, my mom, and my boys have just loved it.
I'm just looking at your resume, really impressive resume here. You worked with Lon Kruger at OU. Talk about his I don't know how to describe this, but just his personality, maybe the impact he's had on you.
Coach Kruger's had more of an impact outside of my dad than anybody's had on me, just on how to deal with people and treat people. He's a family man first. We'd get out of practice and have a good practice, and you'd be sitting in the office working, and he'd say, "Hey, go home. I mean, what are you doing here? Go get with your family, spend some time with your family." And I owe him everything, and it's really helped shape me in how to treat people, and for my boys to be around that. My son Leighton was one when we were there, and so to continue those relationships is really special.
Now we're going to talk about your team. We're going to talk about Coach Owens' teams obviously as well, but now that we're on the topic of OU, 2 years in a row now, I know fans at home they're a little concerned. 2 years in a row, they start fast and they finish really slow. What have you seen from that team that is the cause for that, and what is it about Coach Kruger that can kind of bring them back?
Yeah, I think they all have one consistent thing, and that's they have Coach Kruger they can fall back on. I think last year was tough. I think they probably weren't as mature, and having a guy like Trey Young who shoots a lot, you could be running across half court and, a shot might be coming up. And I think the guys had a tough time dealing with that. But I think they've got a great class coming in next year, and I think they're going to mix a lot of those guys from this year with next year, and I think they're going to be really good. And I think Joe Castiglione, as an AD, knows it's coming, and it's a perfect place for Coach Kruger to be, because he's in the community, and OU basketball needs that. They need a community guy, and he's going to continue to do a great job there.
Yeah. Move the dad's side of the table now. Coach Owens, of course, fabled coach, Hall of Fame basketball coach at the University of Kansas. 2 times in the Final Four. I know one of the great recruiting jobs you've done, though, is to get your son and, more importantly, your 2 grandkids back here to Tulsa, right?
Yeah, we have just loved every minute of it. You know, Teddy, both of the boys were born in March, during March Madness. And so Teddy names them Leighton Brackett Owens and Naismith Owens.
I love that. It's like great.
And those 2 kids are going to grow up and have no interest in basketball and wonder how in the world did we get these names.
What I was seeing, one of your boys on the bench already, right?
Yeah, Leighton likes to come around. He's getting a little bit more interest in girls now. So sometimes he's the water boy for us, and sometimes he's hanging out with the girls in the stands.
Catch us up on the Dutchman. Had a great season so far, coming off that incredible 24-4 season down in Florida and coming back to Holland Hall. Talk about the Dutchman.
Yeah, I'm so fortunate. It was tough to leave the school I was at in Florida because I had some young men I really cared about. And when I interviewed for the job, I told them that was the toughest thing for me, is to leave kids I really cared about, and they were coming back to move here. But our kids, they embraced me right away, which always, a lot of time you have to win the kids over, and right away they were awesome. The families were awesome. So our successes come from our kids being connected together, our families being connected together, the school being connected together. It's made it really fun for me. And my dad and mom are 5 minutes down the road from us, so it couldn't be any better.
Playoffs already started for you guys. You had a little bit of a nail biter there against KTUL.
That was tough,
We did. Coach Coons at KTUL does such a great job. And his kids played so hard, and we were talking about a little while ago, confidence is such a strong thing, and they got confidence early, and they just kept on hanging in the game and led most of the game. And so we came down the stretch. We just watched Hoosiers earlier in the week, and I had one of my kids come to me, and he pulled the Jimmy Chitwood. He said, "Hey, I'm going to make the shot, Coach." He said, "I want the ball in my hands." So we made sure the ball was in his hands late, made a shot with 4 seconds left, and sent us on to the regional winners bracket.
Yes, you guys win that one 46-45. Now you move on to take on Miami. Also in KTUL, correct? The game will be at KTUL.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that'll be a lot of fun. And you said, who was the player who came up and said that to you?
Kyle Hook.
Hook,
our point guard.
And he made it. Even better. Even better.
Well, I know, Coach. What's tougher, coaching in a Final Four or sitting in the stands and watching your son Teddy coach?
Sitting in the stands. You have no control over anything that happens, so you feel helpless. But I like the young men that he coaches. They're great young men, and Teddy, I'm a proud dad, but he does a terrific job.
You give us no better qualified to give us an overview of the Big 12. What a crazy season of basketball. And Kansas, you just got to always present the title to them, but they're in a battle.
Well, if you remember, I told you at the beginning of the year, I don't think Kansas is as good as they. Listen, you don't lose Frank 2 years ago, Devontae, and all of a sudden they only had one starter back from last year, and everybody's saying they're number 1 in the country. There's no way they could be as good as people thought. And then they had the injuries and so forth. But I told you at the time, I said, I think Kansas will lose 5 games and tie for the league. And I think that's where we're on track for that.
Got to show you this off, Coach. Again, this is the book that Coach Owens, and you got to pick this up. At the Hang-Up, and it's worth talking about, Coach. I tell you, it's an amazing book. Share your life stories, go back to OU days, you back to the days in Holland, Oklahoma and stuff. Some great lessons here. Talk about this for us.
Well, I started out to write the book just so people would understand, my kids would understand the sacrifice that my dad and mother made back in the Depression and back on our cotton farm in southwest Oklahoma, to be sure that the 3 of us boys had all the opportunity to go to school. And it's a tribute to them more than any. And it's, but I wanted people also to know that you just don't experience success by yourself. That so many people helped me along the way that gave me opportunities I wouldn't have had otherwise. And so really the book's not only about what happened to me, but the people who made my life what it is today.
Now, I know you and Teddy were eating breakfast in the background, so we got dessert though for you. Here's Nancy.
All right.
Here you go, Coach. Look at this.
Oh my.
Look at this, huh? Give me some tools here for Coach here.
Yeah.
Teddy, there's yours. And guys, also for being with us on Oklahoma Sports Scene. Here's your gift card, but come with back, have breakfast or lunch at Jimmy's Egg.
Thank you.
Kenny, good luck.
Good
Tournament
luck.
here.
Appreciate you guys.
Dutcher. Good to have you back in town.
Thank you.
I love Bracken and Naismith.
Great to be with you.
And hi, Michelle. She's the real boss of the family anyway.
All right.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it. Okay. Wrap things up with Oklahoma Sports Scene when we come back.
At Bricktown Brewery, we're known for our famous original craft beers like Single String Stout and Bluesberry Ale. Did you know we also brew our own root beer at our Oklahoma City brew house? It's called Attaboy Root Beer, and you'll love it no matter what your age. Just ask for a Bricktown Kids menu with all the favorites for our guests 12 and under. Bricktown Brewery opens every day at 11 a.m.
March Madness. There's nothing like it. The road to the Final Four goes through Tulsa. The 2019 NCAA Men's Basketball first and second rounds, March 22nd and 24th at BOK Center in Tulsa.
Beautifully done. Deep splash. Feeling it today.
Visit ncaa.com/MBB tickets and get your seats today.
At Rogers State University, we keep things personal.
It all starts here.
We make sure our graduates get the most out of their education.
RSU has campuses in Claremore, Bartlesville, and Pryor, with on-campus housing and a wide variety of programs to suit your needs.
It all starts here.
Rogers State University.
I can't make him wait any longer. Poor TJ Eckert has been watching all these coaches and all our guests eating breakfast and eating lunch and moving food back and forth from. I promise you get to eat soon, TJ.
It's been torture. We had some really good looking breakfast place. That burger that came out earlier looked phenomenal. And then we had some cinnamon rolls. And yeah, I'm ready to eat now.
It's good to be, of course, at Jimmy's Egg. We're here at 71st and Garnett. How about, as far as our guests here, who kind of stood out to you? What did you enjoy the most in the show, TJ?
You know, talking to him on the show, Bob Carpenter was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
He was a lot of fun to kind of pick his brain, but talking to him off camera as well, just hearing about his experiences, what his day-to-day is like, was a lot of fun. Having Brian Carroll, BC, in here from the Drillers was good, just to see his excitement for the team as well. And then high school basketball. I mean, it's king right now in our area, and so having some of the best coaches in the area talking about their kids, talking about their program, that was a lot of fun as well.
And we had a legend on the show too,
yes.
Sonny, and Kansas basketball coach Ted Owens even gave you a gift, didn't he?
He gave me a book. He gave me his book. He signed it for me as well in here. So pretty neat. Very cool of Coach Owens to do that for me, and excited to read it.
Oh, we had a great time. We had to present you with a Jimmy's gift card too, TJ. Come back here for breakfast or lunch anytime.
Absolutely.
Of course, everything on the menu, 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. So enjoy it. Really had great having you on the show.
Chris, I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I appreciate
Bob
it,
Carpenter
Chris.
and Chris Lincoln's legacy. So
Absolutely, no
job,
doubt.
Everybody.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'll tell you what's coming up on our next Oklahoma Sports Scene show. Mike James is coming over from the city, the head of the Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame. He'll be introducing the 2019 class, and it's a stellar class. You want to hear that with Mike James. Then John Barnfeld, who's the outstanding softball coach at the University of Tulsa, will be here. They're just their 14th season. They've won the last 3 American Athletic Conference championships. Their top 25 preseason off to a good start, the Golden Hurricane softball team. And this guy mentioned Rogers State University has an esports program, the only one in the state so far at the university level. They're going to have their people on talking about esports that are coming up. And then Dale Day, Remington Park preview. They're getting ready for their quarter horse racing season coming up very soon. So TJ, thanks again for being with us.
Thank you,
Thanks
Chris.
for watching Oklahoma Sports Scene. See you next time.